Everybody, welcome to one part of the frozen world. It's cold everywhere, I think, except for you crazy folks out in California. You guys have got fine weather. You don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, I'm totally going to wear a scarf because my broadcast area is right next to an exterior wall. Right there. So it's a little bit chilly, but not as chilly as the restaurant where I went to have lunch. Crazy cold. Shout out to everybody that's going through it. I'm sure there's people that are watching on their cell phones because they don't have any power, and our hearts go out to you. We love you very much. This week is a crazy week of releases. There are some gigantic DC releases. Jay and I were talking before the show that it's kind of like the flip-flop last week, whereas a ton of Marvel last week, releasing and almost no DC that was new. It was only like reprints of things. And now we're going the other way around, although there are some pretty big new Marvel things too, and some cool indie books. So do please share and let your friends know that we're going to do spoiler-free reviews so you guys can figure out what you want to call your LCS and let them know that you want. Right after the show ends, you can totally do that, and you can get a head start on tomorrow's Wednesday claim. So let's talk about comic books right after this. Everybody, and welcome to Minute To Skim It, the review show that's been going on weekly for about, might be above the 10-year mark for the show. It was one of those things that when I started, a lot of people are like going, it's probably going to be really hard to keep that up, to do it every single week, to dedicate yourself to reading books. Well, this is what I figured out. If I didn't do the show, then some weeks I would be like, I can't read this week, so I won't know what's going on in the books. And then for myself, I got out of touch with what was going on in comic books, which, why in the world would you own a comic book store if you couldn't read comic books? Makes no sense. That don't make no sense at all, right? So anyway, so I am happy to do this show for you guys because it helps me too. All right, let's talk about what's coming out this week. All right. First and foremost, there's got to be some Geralt in your life, always. It's so cool because all the Witcher storylines require you to basically know nothing. They always tell you enough in the lead-in to let you understand exactly what a Witcher is, who Geralt is by his kind of attitude. And Roach is in this one, so I mean, you got to have the book because Roach is in it. That's his horsey. So this one, he comes into town not really with a purpose of doing witchering. Is that how you say it? Witchering. But he is moving through town, but he gets recognized and asked if he could, if he finds something to actually do, then it'll help pay for his room and board, essentially. Which is kind of the way Geralt lives his life. I don't think he ever really has like a super plan for things, just that he's going to go around. This one is cool. This town is interesting because it feels a lot like you see in a lot of medieval towns where all of the people that live in it, their names are essentially what they do. This one has an interesting one where one of the members of the town does two things. So his name's hyphenated, but it's hyphenated because it's the hyphenations of two things that you could do. And I can't remember what they are. Butcher, baker, or something. Witchering will now be your daily vernacular. I think that's a real word, right? We're going to say it's a real word anyway. Witchering. It's better than the witchening, which is what happens when he drinks his potion. It's so cool when his eyes turn black and he knows it's about to be on. So anyway, this one's cool. In their town, there is an old mine, and there are people coming to town all the time for many years, treasure hunting. But the people that are living in the town don't really understand what they're treasure hunting for. And in this case, you find out in the telling of the tale what everyone's after. And it is truly exactly what it says in the title there, Bloodstone. But it is not what you normally think about in terms of something like a treasure you would actually try to go for. So, great tale set in the world of The Witcher. And you can't ever go wrong if that's what you're hoping for. There, of course, is some lady flirtation in this one, as Geralt is like to do. Although it's not, if you think about it, it's never Geralt that's making the play, right? It's the girls that are making the play. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I guess abs make everyone crazy. Oh my gosh, I love this cover so much. Okay, so literally, you've got Batman standing there, and he says, "Go to hell?" And once you read the book, you'll understand what the whole why is a question mark, and they're not shouting at each other. In the last issue of Wonder Woman, you had them meet for the very first time. So I'm sure you guys know this because you can't find a copy of that book anywhere because it was so cool. And the understanding when she shows up is she shows up and gives him, like, I think it's a talisman. It's a little metal disc thing that she says if he holds it in his hand and says, "I require the presence of," I don't really know what he has to call her. But anyway, she does show up. But the talisman only works 3 times. So in the Wonder Woman book, he's used it. And I will tell you, he uses it under circumstances here. I'm a little upset that this wasn't titled Absolute Batwoman, like you typed out. Did I really type out Batwoman? I'm telling you, I sit there and I'm trying to type as fast as I can, because literally me typing in the titles of these books to give to Jay so we can find the graphics for it is what holds me between, like, from getting to eat my breakfast. So that's what I was doing. That is hilarious. So another observation here about the cover is that as tall as Batman is, which he is very, very tall, she is taller. So the other day I saw someone had made figures for these, just kind of like kit bash some stuff, and Batman's taller than her. And I was like, nope, inaccurate. Throw them away. Got to start over. So this is a great tale. It does involve Waylon, who's there on the ground, who is the lizard. Is that right? Yeah. And just like all of these books, the tale that's being told seems to be very straightforward, but it never is. So I don't have to convince you to buy this book because you know it's going to be great. But I would tell you it is really wonderful and has some cool moments between them. And it does go back and tell some stories for her that you will like. So grab it up. There's some good covers too. Okay, Absolute Flash. I have been telling my customers locally that, like, of all the books that are Absolute, Flash is the one that's been a little bit like, I don't 100% know what's going on. It's mostly because I don't have a lot of background with the characters. But this specific issue, clarifies some stuff for me that I didn't really understand before. So the way the whole series started, right, was Barry invited Wally to his lab, or he ends up in his lab. He's there visiting his dad or something, right? And there's something crazy that happens in the lab. It explodes. You think Barry's dead. And in the last issue or so, we've seen Barry again. So we're like, oh, well, where are we now? So this explains where that place is. It's called the Still Place, I think. It's called this, would make sense if you're like, things can't move. And we get to meet there's other beings that are stuck in that place. You get to see in what form they are. Like can they ever leave there again? And there's a little bit about Thorn in this, which is the baddie, but it doesn't move that part of the storyline very far forward. It's mostly dealing with the interactions between Barry and Wally. So that is to say, if you've been kind of like for a little while about episode Flash, those will get you back into it because it clarifies some things that have been confusing me, at least. Maybe they would help you. All right, Martian Manhunter. Oh my gosh. I continue to try to explain this book to people. And when I start trying to explain it to people, I'm like, no, anything that I say won't help you understand it 100%. Because it's still this far in issue number 8. The only thing you're fairly certain about is that John is having trouble because we know he can hear other people's thoughts, kind of knows what's going on in the future. You can see stuff that's happening not where he is. And that has been explained as being an effect of having the Martian as being part of him. And you've got the main bad, which has been mentioned a couple of times, is the White Martian. And the way that we get all this information is a little bit of internal dialogue between John and the Martian, who often talks in what seems to be complete nonsense. So the book series has often made you wonder, is this only in John's mind? Is John crazy? But then you see stuff happen in the world that is unexplainable, except for if he can actually see what's going on. It's just so beautifully done. There's like a bunch of parts in this book where when I say that the art is a character, is that like there's people at this bar where John's gone to try to like drown out the voices in his head, which are the Martian, and the things that he hears that are going on with people. Like he literally can hear, or he knows that the bartender's father, who he's been estranged from forever, there's something that's going to happen to him soon. But he's like, how would I even approach this guy? He doesn't know me. He wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. I don't know if he would do anything or care about it. So, and then what's so cool about what I was telling you about, like the art style, it's like the people sitting at the bar or in the bar, they have this like writing that's kind of coming out of their head. It almost looks like multicolored smoke, kind of these colors that are here on the front cover. And so you can hear what their internal thoughts are, but they're written out in this really cool art form. So I can only continue to explain to you how much you should read this book and enjoy it. Just lean into, you might not understand what's going on, and that is okay. In this one, he goes back home. He and his wife and his child, they're kind of like not being able to understand each other. I mean, John has to work a lot, so there's always that like, he's an agent. She doesn't always know where he is or what he's doing. There's always a stress that's like that for anybody. But in this case, where he's told her what's going on, but she's like, yeah, this guy that only you can see and I can't see, that doesn't make any sense. So it's created a real rift in his family. His boss is starting to catch on that there's some stuff that's wrong. So awesome. I can talk about it for years and months and decades. All right, the kids are all fight. This one has ties to a bunch of different books that have happened and are going to happen. The end of this book says that it picks back up and tightens. It also has ties to Justice League Unlimited number, what did it say, 4, something like that. and some other books that have happened that are tied to the DCK, or actually not even DCKO, just the regular all-in stuff. So the kids are all, I think they're in the watchtowers where they're being kind of protected. So you've got these kids, and then you've got another set of kids. The other set of kids are ones that were grabbed up by, is it Granny Goodness? Who's the real bad? Who's like, trying to mess around with even what Darkseid's doing. So she's got some kind of mind control thing that she's been doing. And these kids are trying to be protected while all of the big fights are happening for the Omega Energy and the KO part. Here's the deal. Poor Superman here, that everyone still doesn't know what to call him because he's the kid of Superman. But anyway, he is tasked with watching these kids, and it takes him a while to understand how important that job is. And also, Granny Goodness is actively trying to find them. Slash, maybe not them, but another somebody that might show up. It actually shows up as a surprise in this book. It's like a double thick storyline. It has a bunch of characters that you want to show up. They are absolutely in this. You've got a Garrick in this book. You've got Fairplay, which is the son of Mr. Terrific. He's wearing the blue back there. That is Copycat Kid, I think. When the crazy cool outfit, it was the daughter of Copycat. And man, my DC knowledge for characters is so bad. I apologize. I'll turn in my nerd card now. I used all my words up that I know for these kids. But anyway, it's a good storyline. It feels very much that it's important and tied into the DCKO story. It's not a throwaway one. And it's very interesting to have. Sean's interesting because he's like the whole time basically trying to talk them out of leaving him there. He's like dropping hints like, I heard because I have super hearing. Or I am super fast. I don't know if you know that. It's funny, for so long he's been acted like such an adult that this one took me kind of like to the side where I'm like, oh, now he's not really that grown up. If he's feel that this is kind of an immature thing, right? Needed to drop that, like, I don't know if you know this, but I'm super strong. So anyway, good book, worth the price of admission. The kids are going to get in trouble. All right, Absolute Wonder Woman, more absolute awesomeness. This one does have a backup story. That's The Nice House by the Sea, number 7, which is incredible. This is the beginning of a new story arc involving Wonder Woman and her powers, or magical powers. In this one, she starts feeling funny, that like all of a sudden she feels she doesn't have access to her own magic. And I'm betting you could probably figure out what happens because they're on the front cover. That's Satana. I know you know this already. And she does show up in this book, obviously. I'm going to let you read it, though, to be able to enjoy it. But that's the premise of the book. And very excited to have her show up because we haven't had, other than the gods, we haven't had someone to come in like kind of challenge her magically, I guess. This does go back and show a little bit more about Wonder Woman's upbringing, her, like them training her. So I like that all of these books spend time going back and forth to tell you just a little bit more about why they are the way they are. So there you go. There's so much absolute this week. I'm sorry for your pocketbooks, but suck it up, Buttercup. All right, Malevolent. This was a really trippy book. I don't know if this book is for me. So as far as I can tell, what they're saying is that somebody, or maybe many somebodies, use a circle of magic with technology in it, which summon demons who are then also technological things. So think a little bit like, do you guys remember that the Dark Horse book called Virus? They even made a movie out of it, where it was like an alien biological entity that couldn't form anything itself, but it could take anything mechanical, like scissors or needles or whatever, and kind of like use it to make like forms of things. So it would look like a fly or look like a scorpion or whatever. That's kind of what this thing does. But there's also this girl demon that is also part of the fray. So maybe I need another book of this to truly understand what's going on. Seems like my kind of jam, honestly. Maybe it's because she looks so much just like a regular, like, pasty girl and not like the creature she's fighting, which is very bizarre. I like the bizarre creatures more, honestly. I don't know if you guys do, but I very much more like them to be weird. So anyway, this one is a good image book. You guys read it and tell me what you thought. Bug Wars. Well, I could tell you that this would have definitely been helped by me having been able to read the rest of the Bug Wars series, but it's so popular that it's always sold. So I don't think we have a single copy on the wall. So suffice to say, it's very popular. So this is what I can glean from what I'm reading. The entirety of this is part of a world that is in a yard. So good. Nope. Got you. Read it. Yep. So it happens in the yard. But it's not like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like everything in this feels like it is kind of mystical magic bug. So the character that this follows is a spider witch that is really a spider mite in the form of a woman who has been exiled because she canoodled with a woman, but I don't think it's about that she canoodled with a woman. I think it's because she wasn't supposed to canoodle at all. And it has some like terrible things, like the punishments for her were like she lost all of her children, like they destroyed them all, or the spiders ate them or something. It looks like the spiders are the ruling class in the yard, and they get to tell everybody what they're supposed to be doing. There are cool mystical places in the yard. There's a tree with something that is like an ever-glowing something in it, which we don't. I mean, it's like, I'm sure it's just like the Gaia tree, maybe. But it's just so different and cool. It's so hard to explain because it's like, why would I want to read a book about a spider mite girl? But this is cool. Cool. I totally get why everybody. Son of the gym. I understand why everyone's buying all of this stuff up. It makes so much more sense now. I remember like the number one coming out, and all I could envision was like just little men riding around on beetles, but that's not what's going on. Fun little world.
Just wanted to say real quick, Miss Jen, if you get a chance, I know you read like 8 million books a day. You get a chance to read this, read it. It is so good.
Okay, so tell me this.
Mm-hmm.
Is this girl, is she a central character from before, or is this just an excursus with a character that lives in the world?
It looks like the character that was in the first one.
Okay.
The spiders kind of feel like they're kind of oracles. There's all these different classes of bugs that are humanoid looking bugs. Yeah, this is so great. The basic premise of the first one, folks, and then we'll move on, I promise. Basic premise of the first one is this family moves into a house. The house was owned by the father, and the father died under mysterious circumstances. Later on, you find out exactly what those circumstances are, and they are grotesque and it's very scary. There's this amulet that one of the other sons touches. That's what shrinks him down and gives him power. It's kind of like John Carter of Mars, but in your backyard.
Okay.
Fantastic book, folks. I cannot recommend this highly enough. Jason Aaron, one of my favorite things he's done. So yeah, if you get a chance to check out Bug Wars, pick that up and then grab this one on top of it.
Feels like you're traveling to Bug Narnia.
A little bit. It's just right in the backyard, and the older brother is deathly afraid of insects because of what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the younger brother that ends up in the yard, he actually collects bugs. So it's a crazy little dynamic there. It's such a fun book, though. Such a fun book.
Just when you thought there's no new things that can be written about in comics, then they start doing these things, which are like, so who thinks of this stuff? It's awesome. All right. There are many, many stories in this book. I think it's 6 stories. I read the first 2 just for time. And they're very cool. So the first one deals with Supergirl, which is what's on the front cover here. And it is a fun kind of like young person coming of age kind of storyline in which she befriends the neighbor boy who he feels like he might be a little on spectrum or something. He seems very shy. She shows up on his roof or outside his window and invites him to go on the roof. And he's not really sure how she gets up there, but that's not the big part of the story. It's about stars. He likes looking at the stars. She likes looking at the stars, but she kind of like drops the fact that she has visions of a different set of stars, which of course, that's from Krypton. And yeah, it's a one shot. And it's really just a very sweet kindness between them. Her befriending him and what he does for her as like a really, truly beautiful friend gesture. You might cry if you're feeling a little emotional. And then, gosh, I have to look and see what the second one is. I got so excited about this first one. I was like, it's going to be hard to beat that. Sometimes that happens when I read these. I'm like going, oh, I don't know. Do I need to read another one? Oh, yeah, I do. All right. And the second story is very much about Jay Garrick. It does tell pretty much his whole story in a very cool art style. How do I explain this? Like a lot of the story is done in this kind of like arc across 2 pages of, I'm going to show you real fast. You didn't see this here. So it's like across the page, it looks like film cells all the way across and on the bottom part too. And it tells about how, and I didn't know this before, so maybe this is a new thing that no one knew, is that he finds out that he has a daughter. He has no recollection of the daughter. His wife swears he has a daughter, and he actually gets to meet this daughter. And that character, I think, is actually known in the universe. But all of the things that like happened to him, like the interaction between his family and all that stuff, that's another very much heartwarming storyline. And then I'm going to tell you the names of all of them. So that's the Jay Garrick, that's Running on Love. And then there's a Harley Quinn Poison Ivy storyline called Harlivy Rehabilitated. I'm sure that is a hot mess of a fun. There's a Guy Gardner story called, I think that says Lover Warrior, and that's Nathan Fairbairn. Wonder Woman has a story called Runaway Romancy. There's a Swamp Thing story called So Long and Good Night. Oh, there's 8 stories here. I was wrong. Martian Manhunters in Like Home. And Green Arrow and I Love You Too. Hold on just a second. I'm going to see what kind of style that we get for Martian Manhunter. Now I'm nosy. If I had known there was a Martian Manhunter storyline, I would absolutely have read it. Okay, so it's classic Martian Manhunter. kind of cartoony style. But anyway, it looks like a lot of fun. I like these kinds of big books that feel like you've got your money's worth. It is basically the size of a graphic novel. So, if you like any of those characters, you probably like this book. Okay. This is so complex. How to explain this to you? Okay, the bads in this fight are Null combined with Galactus, who became a character called... I can't remember the character's name. Oh, it's a crazy A name. Don't be mad at me, y'all. When you guys hear it, you'll be like, oh, Abyssus. 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 And versus Mephisto. And so it is really a tale about they have gathered champions. Null / Galactus Mephistus has put together has put null seeds in random heroes' brains and is using them to fight Mephisto's forces in a battle that kind of sounds like this. It's like, in order to save your own universe, you have to destroy another universe. So this is an introduction of a bunch of characters you probably never heard of before. Some of them are created new for the series, like the Spider-Man 3099. That's the gold one there that has an actual name that I can't remember. Is one that was introduced in the last book. But there are some other forms that are super cool, very creative characters that are showing up to do these battles. Some of them kind of start thinking to themselves, well, why do we have to destroy a universe? Why are we doing this? But the null seed is very, very strong. And something about that gets corrupted in this book. And so, yeah, it's a good story arc that was very much started in all of the 2099 books that have been going on for the last 2 or 3 years. They're all culminating in this storyline. So, very battle-y, this book. So if you are allergic to battles like I am, then it might not be your favorite book this week. But if you like, reading about new characters and what they can do, you might love this book this week. Man, I'm going way too fast through these books. Ooh, I'm bad. Sorry, y'all. We're going to get done with these in no time. This is Iron Man #1. I will tell you, I'm always real with you guys. The first half of this book, I thought to myself, yawn, so much yawn, all the yawn. This is just a retelling of his origin story, his normal origin story. I don't need to hear his origin story again. I don't care about his origin story. I thought we were going to get something new. But halfway through, you realize this is a setup. This is a setup for something. So it is all about somebody trying to find someone that is a worthy replacement for Tony Stark. And pretty much their thought process is it has to be Tony Stark, but whatever. Because they're trying to put somebody in an iron suit that will be a part of their project, right? I will let you discover who that person is, or people. But the first part of the story we were kind of like yawn is that it's basically shows up because they've made Tony Stark awards, which he misunderstands when he shows up as being an award for him. But no, it's his team putting together something he asked for long ago, in which he wanted to look forward for new smart brains that he could give grants to so that they can, think of new technologies and stuff, probably so that he can also have access to it. Although he will probably have said about all of it that he thought of it first, but whatever. And then that has a huge twist aspect to it. So here's me telling you, the first half of this book, you might be like, rage, I'm ripping it in half and I'm taking it back to the store, blah. But I'm telling you, it will have a payoff. Whether it's a big enough payoff for you, I don't know. I thought it was a big enough payoff for me. I've been very disappointed in the last few stories for Iron Man. It dealt with like Roxxon and I don't know. They just feel like they've kind of like been good stories, but meandered away from like, I need to read this storyline. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning of like, oh my gosh. Because if what's happening is what I think is happening, it has a high potential for lots of new characters. And I'm down for that. So, all right. Now you know what I know. Oh my goodness. This one is super fun. This is an Amazing Spider-Man annual. That person there is next to him is not Bucky, so don't start thinking it's Bucky. It's a new character. Can't remember when or if he's actually shown up before, but he feels a lot like he has a real life problem, kind of like Pete has, in which his name is Rapid. He acquired his powers because his dad was working on some way to stop time, because his dad has cancer, inoperable cancer or brain cancer, and was trying to find a way to freeze time so that the disease would not progress. And so he something happens in which he gets exposed to that. And so now this kid can, or this young man can stop time. And it looks like they've fought alongside each other once or twice. But this is them kind of sitting on top of a building, talking about all of that stuff together. And the character, do we learn his actual name? I'm sure we did. But anyway, he kind of shares that he doesn't have a lot of time to think about fighting crime because he's got to work many multiples of jobs to try to afford, having a family and doing normal family things. Like, I'd like to sleep some kind of deal. So in the middle of this whole like heartwarming discussion, you have this girl show up that is obviously running some kind of like TikTok stream or something, broadcast on the big screens. It looks like on Times Square. And that person's name is Screwball. And she basically challenges them to, she really wants to get at Spider-Man. Throws a bunch of challenges at him that like puts the public in very much in danger, and he has to react. And then this kid Rapid gets kind of like stuck in the fray. There's a problem with Rapid's power, although he started out with having as much as he ever wanted, and it was very easy for him to use his time stopping ability. Recently, it doesn't last as long, and it gives him huge headaches. And that's that's something that gets resolved at the end for like the why. So this one, I actually really, really like when annuals are like this, where you can jump in. You don't really need to know anything about either character. It gives you everything that you need to know about the storyline. And this one gives you a lot of good interaction between them that you will probably really like. And if you like battles, this one has got some, but not overwhelmingly battle-y, which is the stuff that makes me crazy. Caffeine, that's right. Oh, wait. We said caffeine, so we got to drink some caffeine. Woo! There you go. All right. Also, out this week, there are some really good graphic novels. Mothra, Queen of the Monsters is out. I feel like this has already been out. No, or maybe we just ordered it. This is Criminal Cruel Summer, which is volume 10 from Brubaker and Phillips. Hardcover, Long Halloween. The Cold Witch. The Seasons. This is volume 2. It's a good Remender tale. This one is DC Power, Rise of the Power Company hardcover. And there's a deluxe edition of Batman Adventures, Mad Love, hardcover. Hey, by the way, fun fact. You should go look at the price of the hardcover Absolute Batman trade. There's not a lot of stores out there that have it anymore, but if yours does and you don't have one yet, you should go get it because it's a $50 book right now. Or actually, it's a $60 book, but also be looking for these when you go to your local comic shop. There is a 2026 sketchbook for Stormbreakers, the next generation of elite artists. So it features work of Netho Diaz, Gurihiro, Alessandro Capicio, Juan Figueri. Oh my gosh, all these cool names. Luciano Vecchio, Simone DeMio, Jeff Shaw, and Jonas Scharf. So this is like a little free givey that they're going to hand you if they've got them. Also, a very cool IDW monthly featuring Event Horizon, Inferno. Also, Valiant and Alien books are part of their line now, so you might pick up one of those. Then, oops. Also available this week is going to be a cool Marvel previews. This is the February catalog for April and features a bunch of stuff about Spider-Man, Superman. Do use these. These are like, here's the Ultimate Endgame 5, which is going to get close to the wrap-up for all of the Endgame stuff. In the book, they have a bunch of the covers already, and they've got synopses for stories. It's very easy to take this freebie and circle it up like you got a Sears catalog and then hand it to your LCS and be like, I need all these. Put them on the list, please. That rhymes. All right. That is all the review show for today. I apologize that I made it through it so quickly. In about 15 minutes, I'm going to be coming back on. And I have got new comic books for this week, the ones I just showed you, plus a bunch more that I'll be offering for you to grab up so that you can have them shipped to you this week right away so you can read them. So if your LCS doesn't have them, I'm happy to help you, but I do say please support your LCS if you can. I would much prefer that. And also after that, I've got a killer collection on the wall that I sent pictures and posted up in social media today. It is a collection that walked in the door. It's one of these crazy collections that when people give them to you to like sell for them, I looked at it and I was like, and then I looked at it more carefully and I was like, ooh, because you know, there's some keys and keys and keys and keys and a bunch of keys on the board. So if you know anybody that likes these books, please let them know so they can show up to the show. It was the most interaction I've had on a post of a picture of things I'm going to sell in a little while. So I'm going to be doing that next. Thank you so much for joining me for a Minute to Skim It. Please always let me know in the comments, or you can send messages through the EXP on social media or anywhere else. If there are books you would love me to review that I don't normally review, if I can get them, I will do it for you. I'm happy to do that. Just let me know that you are interested in hearing my darn opinion about what's going on in any old book, and I will do that. 15 minutes until Wonder Man. Oh, yeah, that's right. No one's going to be listening to anything I have to say because Wonder Man's on. I heard probably 6 months ago from somebody that would be in the know that the people that got early access to watching the show, including the internal people at the company, were saying that they feel like it was the best thing that they had made so far. So that is exciting. All right. Thanks, everybody. I will see you guys in about 15, unless you're watching Wonder Man, and then I'll see you in review. Bye, y'all.